How's it going, everybody? Josh here, and welcome to another Pokemon Challenge video on the channel. For this challenge, I wanted to try and use a Pokemon that wasn't normally used and forgettable, but it's a Pokemon I really enjoy. For this run, I'm going to be using Girafarig. This Generation 2 normal Psychic type is one that isn't really used by people. It's not that good, but I like it overall. And I couldn't find any challenges with it on YouTube, so I was like, hey, why don't I do one? And I'm going to be playing through everybody's favorite, Emerald, because I did Fire Red already. Taking a look at Girafarig's stats, its stats are pretty balanced throughout. Its special attack and speed are the highest, with everything else not far behind. This is going to be great for early game, not so great for later game, but we'll see how it goes. Now it's time for the rules. Rule number 1 is going to be I can only use Girafarig in battle. Rule number 2, HM Pokemon are allowed and I can't use items in battle. I can use held items, however. I'm really excited for this run. I really like Girafarig. It's going to be a pain late game, but early game is going to go by pretty quickly, except for Watson, because nobody likes Watson. Anyway, so I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to trade out Torchic for Girafarig. The reason I chose Torchic is because Torchic evolves in Blaziken, which is a fighting type in its final form, and Girafarig's a psychic type. Didn't want to have an advantage just like last time. And I decided to name him Melvin, only later to realize that the giraffe from Madagascar is Melmin. Chance for a theme absolutely failed. The reason I think this is going to be a great run is because with Stab Confusion at level 13, Roxanne is going to be a breeze. And Stab Tackle helps too, which you'll see right here when I fight May for the first time on Route 102. I just spam Tackle, and it deals a little bit more damage because I'm a normal type, and Stab moves are awesome. So I get through the Petalburg Woods until I run into this Devon worker and have to fight over papers from this Team Aqua Grunt who has a Poochyena. I just tackle it to fainting, and that's pretty much that battle. From there, I go straight into Rustboro and take on Roxanne. At this point, I do have Confusion, which helps against Geodudes, and I just use my Stab Confusion for pretty much the entire battle. Which really helps because Geodude have low special defense against their super high regular defense, which sucked in my last run. But you know what? Nose Pass was still a pain. I still took it out with some confusions, and that netted me my first gym badge. Then I went to the nice foggy cave where I ran into a Whismur, and this Whismur serves no purpose. But I went and fought this Team Aqua Grunt again, kicked his Poochyena to the dirt, and saved Pico for Mr. Briny, who's gonna take me to my next destination of Dewford, where actually fighting through the gym trainers, I learned Stomp, which is a better tackle and can flinch, which gets me to my next point. I fought Brawly right away. He started out with his Machop, and one Confusion took it out. Meditite was the only pain because it's also a Psychic type, so Confusion wasn't going to one-shot it anyway, and I just decided to use 2 Astonishes as it tightened its focus for Focus Punch, and last but certainly not least was Makuita, which one Confusion took out. After going through the cave and going through Slateport, I met up with May for what is considered the hardest rival fight in the game. She starts out with her Lombre, as I start out, of course, with Melvin. I hit a couple Confusions to take it out very quickly. Next, she sends out her Marshtomp, her Ace, I should say. One Confusion does close to half, but it lowers my speed with a Mud Shot. I hit it with a Stomp to hopefully confuse it, or flinch it, but that didn't work, and one more Stomp took it out. Last was Slugma, and one Confusion ended the battle there. And now it's time for my hardest fight yet, and wait, I forgot about Wally. Wally just took one stomp to Raltz's head, and it was over. Anyway, now for the hardest fight, Watson. Watson is a huge challenge for me because of one reason, and that reason is Magneton. Magneton is a Steel type, With me being psychic and normal, I don't have any real good stab moves that are going to deal a ton of damage to it. I have Confusion, I have Stomp, but neither of those deal a lot of damage to a Steel type. Magneton also only spams Electric type moves that are its stab. It also spams Shockwave, which is a really good move for Electric types and never misses. So even if I had a accuracy lowering move, that didn't help. I decided to train up a lot, come back, and also hold a Cherry Berry to hopefully stop the paralysis. But I easily get through Electrike and Voltorb as usual, and out comes Magneton. I hit one Confusion that deals a nice chunk, and as predicted, it hits a Thunder Wave, which my Cherry Berry heals. Next, it uses Thunder Wave again, and I take it out with a couple more Confusions. Last but certainly not least was Manectric. As it sets up its attack, I hit a nice Confusion. It crits Shockwave, I hit another Confusion, it heals, and we go back and forth for a little bit until I finally confuse it. Watson heals it, I hit it with a Confusion, and then it takes itself out, getting me my third gym badge, which was really nice. Thank you for taking yourself out. Next was Maxie, and the first Maxie fight, kinda's easy. Shouldn't have been as easy as it was for me, but you know, I'll take a win. So I hit it with a Stomp, hit it with another Stomp to take it out. Next out comes Zubat, which I just take out with one single Confusion. And last but certainly not least is Camerupt. And Camerupt, I thought it was going to be tougher, but it wasn't. Two Confusions take it out, and that ends that fight. From there, I go straight down to Flannery. Flannery is seen as one of the harder gym leaders because of her Torkoal, but as you'll see here, she wasn't a problem at all. First out was Numel, and I took it out in one Confusion. Next was Slugma, who I also took out with one Confusion. Next was Camerupt, who I hit with Confusion as it hit me with a nice Overheat, but one more Confusion took it out. And last but certainly not least was her Torkoal. Confusion took it down to half, and it tried to seduce my Melvin, but it didn't work as I confused it one more time and took it out. Fighting Norman's trainers, I decided I wanted to learn Psybeam because Psybeam is a much stronger Confusion. And it's going to help out a lot when fighting Norman, as you'll see here. Norman's first Pokemon is Spinda, and I take it out with one Psybeam. Next up is his Vigoroth, which I also take out with one Psybeam. Slacking is his final Pokemon, and I hit a crit Psybeam for almost its entire health, which would have helped, but just one more Psybeam was able to take it out. Last is Linoon, as I hit it all the way down to red with a Psybeam. He heals, I Psybeam, he heals, I Psybeam, and one more Psybeam takes it out, earning me my 5th gym badge. The next fight we're going to cover is the Weather Institute fight with May, which was another easy fight. Like I said, most of these fights in the early game and mid game are going to be really easy because Girafarig is pretty buff compared to some of these Pokemon. After this fight, it gets a little more challenging because we see more fully evolved Pokemon, but up until now, sweeps through. I decided to teach Melvin Shockwave for the Flying type gym, especially because of Skarmory, and that really helped, which you'll see here. Winona's first Pokemon is Swallow, and I send out Melvin and take it out with a Psybeam. Her next Pokemon is Tropius, which I hit with one Psybeam as it gears up for Solar Beam, and it fails because I take it out with another Psybeam. Next is Pelipper, and one Shockwave takes it out. Fourth is Skarmory, which I almost take out with a Shockwave, and another Shockwave, and a Hyper Potion, and then 2 more Shockwaves will take it out. Last but certainly not least is her Altaria. Altaria is just going to set up Dragon Dance, which doesn't help her in any way, shape, or form, as I take her out with 2 or 3 Psybeams. The next fight is going to be Maxie fight in the Magma layer, and this fight should have been a lot harder than it actually was. But as you'll see here, it isn't tough. Mighty N is out first, and it intimidates me immediately, but I taught Melvin Strength because I needed a Pokemon to know Strength, HMs and all that jazz. 2 more strengths to take it out. Next comes Crobat. The scary face that Mighty Enna used actually lowered my speed enough so Crobat would outspeed and hit me with a bite before I just took it out with one Psybeam. His final Pokemon is, of course, Camerupt, which I take out with a couple of Psybeams as it hits me for a nice Earthquake. I do talk to Maxie a lot for some reason. I decided to record this, but that's because I want to talk about Tate and Liza before we get into there. Tate and Liza is actually a double battle gym, and to combat this, I have to have 2 Pokemon, so I just used my Surfing Zigzagoon and tried to not spam attacking moves. As you'll see here in this attempt, he just dies in one hit, no problem at all. Another issue with Tate and Liza is because they use 2 Pokemon and this is a 1 Pokemon challenge, it's really tough to fight 2v1 when you're getting hit by 2 different Pokemon each turn. Even when they heal, you still have to watch out for that other Pokemon. And I learned that lesson the hard way, because I kept going after Claydol, which would tank my crunches every single time, and Claydol then would just keep using Earthquake. Tate and Liza is just a tough gym to do in a 1 Pokemon challenge. But eventually I did it. It took a little bit of training. I didn't train much after my first attempt failed. As you can see here, I got really close to the end, but in the end I did lose, and I kind of went around, trained, came back, and took them out in my second attempt, which I learned from my first one because I decided to just take out Xatu with Shockwave, and it worked. However, Claydol uses Earthquake, which takes out Zigzagoon, thank goodness, and the real battle can begin. Next, I decided to go straight for Lunatone, because Claydol's going to tank my moves anyway. A couple of crunches. I did crit crunch Claydol, which helped, and then I had Lunatone low, so I just had to deal with Solrock, and Solrock just set up a sunny day, and 1 more crunch took it out, getting me my 7th gym badge. Archie was a little more challenging than Maxie, but that's just because his Sharpedo is a Water Dark type, which doesn't help me because I'm a Psychic type. Anyway, I decided to go fight him right away. He intimidated me and used his scary face on me to lower my speed, but that didn't help him as I used my impenetrable strength. Next was Crobat, who confused me, and I took it out with 1 Psybeam. Last but certainly not least was his Sharpedo, and 1 Shockwave was all it took after I decided to hit myself. Fantastic, but like I said, 1 Shockwave did the job. Next, after all the legendary shenanigans, I went to fight Juan. Juan, I kinda was really confused by his character when I first played through Emerald, but it is what it is. 1 Strength took out his Love Disc, and next came Crawdon, which 1 Shockwave also did the job. Next was my least favorite of his Pokemon, Wishcash. Because I can't use Shockwave on it, I had to use Psybeam, and it didn't really do much damage with Earthquake, but I took it out with 2 Psybeams. Next was Celio, who I took out with 1 Shockwave. And last but certainly not least was everybody's favorite, Kingdra. I hit Kingdra with a Psybeam just to see how much damage it would do, and I confused it. That really helped, but a couple more Psybeams and a crit took it out, earning me my 8th gym badge. I almost forgot about this Wally fight, not gonna lie, because Wally just doesn't show up from the 3rd gym until now, unless you go visit him in Betterdoff Town, I think. But this battle was kind of simple. I was able to really take out his team with Psybeams, and then came Magneton, who wasn't too much of a threat because a couple of crunches and it went down. Yeah, Roselia went down with 1 Psybeam, and Gardevoir went down with a crunch or 2. So, on to the Elite Four. Sydney was my least favorite of all the Elite Four members because obviously he's a dark type. He took a few tries, especially with his shift tree. Here are my stats before the Elite Four. Special defense is where I'm weakest at, which sucks because, especially with Sydney, dark type is special in this generation, so that kind of sucks. But his first Pokemon out is Mightyena, which I hit Earthquake, take it to half, and my first attempt doesn't go all that well, which is kind of expected for a dark type against a psychic type. I did learn that just to use my special moves because special's gonna help me more in this kind of situation. Unfortunately, his shift tree decides it likes to spam double team, which doesn't help anybody. Shift tree never does much damage to me in any of my attempts, but it just, the double teams and then getting intimidated, and then the torment also doesn't help. Usually I would get through shift tree, but Cacturn would take me out in 2 hits or 1 hit depending on the run. But yeah, my later attempt in the one I beat Sydney, I started with Thunderbolt. I actually swapped out Shockwave because Thunderbolt dealt more damage. Anyway, so I decided to hit Shift Tree with a Crunch to try to lower its specials. Defense didn't really work, but I didn't have to worry about anything else as it didn't hit me with any moves. Next was Cacturn, who I hit with a Thunderbolt, took it to about half. It missed its Cotton Spore, and that really helps too, so I outspeed everything. Crawdaunt is a one-shot with Thunderbolt, and last but certainly not least is Absol, who I forgot I had Torment still, and hit it with a Crunch to hopefully lower its special, but didn't. I hit it with 1 Earthquake to take it down to red as it healed with a Citrus, and 1 more Thunderbolt took out Absol. Phoebe is next. Phoebe's a ghost type trainer, which really helps when you have Crunch. But yeah, she starts out with Dusclops as it spams Protect, and I miss a Crunch due to it, but 1 Crunch takes it out. Next is Bayonet, who I also take out with 1 Crunch. Third is Sableye, who I decided not to use Crunches on because it wouldn't deal much damage anyway. I decided to hit a couple Thunderbolts to take it out as it spammed Double Team, and Feint Attack also didn't like me very much because it never misses. Fourth, was Bayonet, who I hit with 1 more Crunch to take it out, and last but certainly not least was her final Dusclops, which actually tanked a Crunch, hit an Earthquake, healed, and then it could not take 1 Thunderbolt. Third was Glacia, who's got some water types on her team, which really helps. Like I said, for Thunderbolt spamming. So her first Pokemon is Celio. I throw out Melvin, and hit 1 Thunderbolt to take it out. Next, she sends out Glalie, who I hit a Psychic, and that deals almost all of it, but it raises up a light screen, which sucks, because that means my special moves are going to do a lot less, as you can see Crunch did there. A few more Psychics and Crunches, and I took out the Glalie after getting hit by an Icy Wind. Next out was Celio, who I hit with 1 Thunderbolt to take it out. Just kidding. 2 because of Light Screen, of course. Then it set up Hail, which did not help me one bit. 1 more Psychic took it out. Second to last was another Glalie, who didn't use Light Screen, thank goodness. As 1 Psychic took it to red, it froze me with Ice Beam, which did not help whatsoever. As she used a full restore, I was still frozen. That was my only turn being frozen as I defrost, hit a Psychic, it hits another Ice Beam to bring me down to 9 health as the hail stops. Shoo! Right? Last was her Walrein, which 1 Thunderbolt took it out, ending the battle. Thank goodness, I was at 11 health. I was not ready to do that fight again. The last of the Elite Four is Drake. Drake took a couple tries just because I don't have any super effective moves against Drake. I couldn't get Ice Beam. I don't even know if Girafarig can learn Ice Beam. It would have helped, but not by much. And the thing that I ended up doing in later runs, which really did end up helping me, I gave Girafarig a Lax Incense as a held item. because if you remember in the rules, I can use held items. And the main reason I did this was because a lax incense slightly lowers the opponent's accuracy. And the thing that was stopping me from winning each time was I would be at 49 health when his Kingdra would come out, and it would take me out with one Surf. Because Altaria, all it would do is spam Dragon Dance, and as you can see here, one Thunderbolt did about half, as it just would take me out with Surf. My attempt that I won went a little bit like the last one, just Flygon missed a crunch, and that really helped. But out first was Shelgon. I went for a Psychic as it used Protect, and as you can tell, one more Psychic took it out. Next came out Flygon, which I hit with another Psychic. I started with a Crunch to hopefully lower its special, and it missed its Crunch, and one more Crunch took it out. Next was Salamence, who I hit with a Crunch just to get it to about half, as it hit me for a decent chunk, and one Psychic took it out. Next was Altaria, as I hit it with a Psychic to bring it down lower than half, and it just used Dragon Dance, so that didn't do anything special. Last but certainly not least was Kingdra, who I hit with a Psychic. It hit spam the Dragon Dance, and I hit one more Psychic to take it out and end the battle. Wallace is another just water-type trainer who I despise. He also has a Whiscash, but his worst is his Melodic. I definitely lost my first attempt handily, just because I couldn't deal enough damage quick enough. If you can't tell, I didn't grind at all between my attempts, I just went for it. I've been on kind of a time crunch lately to try to get this video out. I know I said in my last video that would be out later in the week, but I couldn't due to schoolwork and regular work, but I got this out as fast as I could. I'm actually filming this on the day that I'm like putting it all together and sending it out to you guys. So I think I'm doing a pretty good job of time management, wouldn't you say? But this is definitely not going to be the norm for me. I'm trying to get stuff set up so I can do some Madden footage as well, because Madden's another one of my favorite games to play. But I'm still trying to figure out all that fun stuff. So this attempt against Wallace, I beat Wallace. He starts out with his Wailord as usual, and I start out with Melvin. I hit a Thunderbolt, take it out in one shot, as I have done for many attempts. Next is his Tentacruel, who I hit Psychic, take it out in one shot. Third is his Ludicolo. I'm getting my Pokemon mixed up. I hit a Psychic to get it down to pretty low, and one more Psychic takes it out. Fourth is his Whiscash, who I hit Psychic, take it down to pretty low. Amnesia raises its special defense sharply, and it decides to use a Hyper Beam, which deals very little damage, and one more Psychic takes it out. Second to last is his Gyarados, who intimidates me, but that doesn't matter, because one Thunderbolt does it in as well. Last but certainly not least is Melodic, who I start off with a Psychic to bring it down to about half health as it hits me with a Toxic, which kind of is a waste of a turn in my eyes, but up to him, right? It hits with Recover, which heals about half its health, and one more Psychic is able to take it out, earning me the championship, and the run is over. I was thinking about doing the battle with Steven in the post-game, but like I said before, short on time, and I just wanted to get this video out there. My next challenge, I don't know exactly what Pokemon I'm going to do yet. I'm still thinking about it. Like I said, I've been working on getting Madden stuff ready for you guys, and hopefully those videos will be coming out shortly. I'm thinking about doing a rebuild as my first video, and those rebuilds take a long time. Let me know down in the comments what challenge you want me to do next, with what Pokemon and what game. And if you do have an idea of what Madden challenge you want me to run, let me know there too. And yeah, that's it for this video, and I hope you guys have a splendid rest of your day.